Okay. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to PD 101. I'm Phyllis Leverage. I'm the Western Slope Outreach Coordinator for the Parkinson Association of the Rockies. Before we start, I'd like to ask everyone to please mute themselves if you could. That'll keep the distracting noises down. I'd like to make a few announcements. Um, Our Care Partner Summit is on May 10th in the Aurora Hyatt. We'll have Jane Barton speaking on compassion fatigue when it hurts to care, and Kay Adams will speak on the power of boundaries and empathy and preventing burnout. Our chats with the Parkinson's Pro begin in April, so see our website for the details. And our Vitality Walks start on May 17th in Pueblo with our Denver Vitality Walk on June 1st. So just visit our website and be on the lookout for registration information for all of these events. If you, during the course of the lecture, if you have a question, you can either enter it in the chat or you can raise your hand by clicking on the little react button at the bottom of the screen that looks like a heart. So I'd now like to introduce our first speaker, Michele McKittrick. With a strong foundation in athletic performance and group training, Michele began her career in the fitness industry as a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor. From 2002 to 2007, she served as a varsity football coach, specializing in strength, conditioning, agility, and flexibility. Over the years, she has expanded her expertise to include a wide range of formats, including kickboxing, bar, stretch, Pilates, and Parkinson-specific fitness classes. Her passion lies in helping individuals of all abilities build strength, confidence, and resilience through movement. So Michele will be covering the exercise portion of the PD 101. So thank you, Michele. It's all yours.
Thank you so much, Phyllis, for having me. Um, Full disclosure to everyone, this is my first time doing this, so I'm hoping things go off without a hitch. When I ask you questions, I'll probably just ask you, hey, has anyone ever done this? And you can raise your hands and that'll signify yes. All right. And then we have questions at the end. And so if you do have a question, like Phyllis said, enter it into the chat and then and we'll try to answer everything. Phyllis, I
Yes.
have my glasses on, so I'll probably need to use you as my eyes. So
Okay. I've got an eye on it. Yeah, don't you worry.
okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, like Phyllis said, I'll give you just a quick bio about me. Let's see how we're doing this. There we go. Can everyone see me on their screen? My quick bio? Yes. Okay, awesome. Excellent. All right, so I started as a private trainer, which you'll see why that's important. I became a group exercise instructor and fell in love with all different kinds of classes. Kickboxing, bar was like kind of my favorite thing. Stretching, that is without question something that I think we all need. Weight training circuits, meditation, so much more. And then I became a football coach because the head coach saw what I was doing with the students, with the cheerleaders, as a matter of fact. And he asked me one day if I would train the football players. And I was like, well, you know what? We'll give it a try. And that lasted 5 years, and I learned so much. Um, After that, in April of last year, I was trying to figure out, I had moved here and I was trying to figure out some ideas for volunteerism. I had worked for another company and was a volunteer coordinator. And I wanted to do some volunteer work. And so I found PAR and it took off from there. So I've been teaching Parkinson's exercise classes for the last year. And then on March 31st, I am now working in the office as the director of partner programs. So I am seeing it from all different angles and really enjoying this adventure. So, all right, so let's get into a little bit of why, how we do all of this. Um, my big thing is looking at the person as a whole. So I take the holistic approach. I want to make sure that people just aren't identified as Parkinson's, but we still look at them as everything that's important in their life. So I think I just answered that one. We're going to find out, can exercise help motor and non-motor symptoms? So the symptoms that we see, and then the non-motor symptoms are the symptoms that you don't see. And sometimes people don't talk about this, but it's really important, and exercise is a really important aspect of these non-motor symptoms. We need to know how much exercise is best. What can exercise actually do for Parkinson's? I love that part. And does exercise help my brain as well as my body? And then the use it or lose it principle. We're going to see all of these things. So when we talk about the holistic approach, this takes everything into account. So it's kind of like being a professional athlete. Everything has to line up. We need to talk about your exercise, what you're eating on a daily basis, the social aspect of your life. This is huge. Your mental health, the sleep hygiene. Sleep is one of those things that Parkinson's can really mess with. We want to make sure that timing of your medication is appropriate, especially when you are exercising. We want to make sure you're in an on phase. And we have to make sure that your stress levels are being managed appropriately. And that's what a lot of what I do in the exercise classes is just talking with the participants and making sure that we're hitting all of these things. And now they understand, hey, bring this up to your instructor. There are tips and tricks that we all share to make each of these things a little bit better. So the motor symptoms, of course, exercise is going to be incredible when trying to mitigate these motor symptoms. There have been so many studies done that that corroborate this. So the motor symptoms that we normally discuss are the slowness, stiffness, tremor, walking challenges. Your gait might change, balance. Your postural muscles might get a little bit weaker, so it's important to work on core strength. So all this can be addressed in these exercise classes. All right, so let me see. Pardon me, I've got to switch my notes around. All right, so the exercises that benefit the motor symptoms there are all these classes on the right-hand side of the slide. So this is, we talk about balance, lack of coordination and agility, limited mobility, freezing of gait, dystonia. All of these aspects of the motor symptoms can be addressed in the classes. We've got to make sure that we continue to move. We continue to sweat. We have to push ourselves. Exercise is now being prescribed by doctors for Parkinson's. It's considered an anti-inflammatory type drug action. It helps the brain generate beneficial hormones. It induces neuroplasticity. And when I talk about neuroplasticity, I'm talking about creating new neuronal pathways, not creating new neurons, but new neuronal pathways. If you think about, if you're traveling on, say you're traveling on the 25 and there's an accident, but you can get off at the next exit and go around the accident. That's what we're doing with exercise. We are creating a new pathway so that your brain can learn new skills, it can recover from damage, and it can adapt to new environments. All of this can be achieved through exercise. Now, one of the most amazing things about PAR and why I'm so excited to be a part of this family is we offer so many different types of exercises for everyone in all different regions, all across Colorado and Wyoming, Western Slope, you name it. We have it. We offer the exercise classes, support groups, and we have a big community. And the nice thing is it's free. It's free for people living with Parkinson's, and it's free for care partners as well. So, all right, let's see where we're going from here. So not only do we work the large muscle groups, so large muscle groups are like your legs and your back and all your postural muscles and things like that. We also want to make sure that we are working the smaller muscle groups. When you are experiencing Parkinson's, your voice can soften. Swallowing becomes a challenge. And we have specific things that we do as instructors that can assist with this. In my classes, I would make sure I had a timer, and every single time it got down to 10, we would count down loud and proud from 10 to 1. And that helps to exercise your voice. Also, things that people don't think about. When experiencing Parkinson's, sometimes you lose your arm swing when you're walking. Your strides become shorter. Your gait becomes a little bit shorter. Sometimes you're off balance. We've been walking using our arms this whole time, but now we have to think about it. We have to make it happen. So another thing that happens is your handwriting gets smaller. Your dexterity gets a little different. So there are different exercises we use to strengthen all of these things. Now there's something called masking. And in our face, we have so many different muscles. It's important to exercise them. Masking is when we lose the use of those expressive muscles. And that's, again, here we go. If you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So even though it might feel a little strange at first, my class got used to it. I would ask them to smile super big and open their eyes, open their mouths really wide to make sure that all these muscles in their face were being used. So don't forget, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So we want to use it all. There's something called LSVT, big and loud, and it's really interesting. So LSVT means Lee Silverman Voice Treatment, big and loud. So Lee Silverman was a client who had Parkinson's, and her occupational therapist found a treatment regimen that actually helped. And so now it's become nationwide, this big and loud program to help people reclaim the use of their voice, bigger movements. I noticed with my clients in class, their movements would get smaller. Not only their walk, but it seems like they didn't want to open up and use big movements and big leg movements and things like that. So I had to remind them. And so the more you practice this, the better it is, the better it's going to be. So you can always go onto our website and find these classes. All right, the non-motor symptoms. Now, these are the things that people don't talk about because you can't see them. But people living with Parkinson's feel them. So with exercise, not only do you get the benefit of the cardio experience, bone density increasing, blood pressure trying to stabilize with the use of strength training and cardio and balance, and all these different modalities, you also get these exercises that are going to be tailored to your needs. So when we exercise, these are the things. I don't really want to read it off to you because I know you can see it. But I started tailoring exercises to my clients. I would have them multitask. I would have them walk laterally over short hurdles while they were twirling. I put little balls at the end of tube socks. And so they were multitasking. So their brain was really having to learn something new while balancing and doing a functional exercise. So the lateral walks over the shorter hurdles. Think about this. We have to do functional movements. We have to do exercises that speak to what you're going to do every day. Walking laterally over a hurdle, that's going to lend to getting in and out of a car, getting on and off your bed, carrying groceries. We're going to do bicep curls. We're going to make sure that you have the strength. We are going to do overhead presses. Not truly overhead because we always go at like a 45-degree angle because we don't want any shoulder impingement. So it's kind of like you're getting something off a bookshelf. There's your functional move. Now that's what we have to train towards every day. One of the things that is hard to talk about is depression and anxiety and stress. But it's something you need to talk to your instructor about. Talk to someone, go to support groups, talk to someone, because I guarantee you there's someone who is experiencing that. The exercise regimen that you do helps to bring those levels down. Moving your body helps with your bowel health, making sure, because the medication that you take can sometimes mess with that. We also want to make sure that you're eating the right things. You're having enough fiber, you're drinking enough water. It's going to help you sleep better at night, like we talked about, bone density. Now, establishing movement patterns. I thought this was key in my classes. Like bringing your foot like a backwards lunge and a forward lunge and a sideways lunge. If you ever got knocked off your balance, if you did that enough, it's called muscle memory. Your body would know to catch yourself. If someone knocked you or bumped into you and you kind of stumbled backwards, you've got the established movement pattern to make sure that you don't fall. That is one of the things. I want to make sure we don't fall. Increased mobility, that is huge. You've got to stretch, you've got to use it, whether it's just your head so that you don't lose mobility in your neck. I always had clients look like they were looking over their shoulder, like they were backing out of their driveway. That's important. What you do on one side, make sure you do on the other. So these classes are also super, super cool thing that I learned. It builds community. It's a social outlet. I had clients let me know that sometimes this was the only time that they came out of their house. You know, having people come into your house to help you is okay. But they needed to be with other people. They needed a reason to be out of their home. And that was important. So the consistency of working out is crucial on a lot of different levels. So how much exercise do we need? Well, there's some studies done on that. That's kind of my fun place. So there was a study, and it was called the tandem bike study. And I think this is such a neat thing. And what it did was it showed, just by chance, there was a group with some Parkinson's doctors or people who were affiliated with Parkinson's and people who had Parkinson's riding on tandem bikes through a region. And what they noticed was that after the tandem bike rides, people had less motor symptoms, less non-motor symptoms, and even the handwriting got better. And so they started taking this into the lab to figure this out why. And what they came across was there was a point where you have to reach to make this happen. So 80% of your maximum heart rate, they did 60% of your maximum heart rate. And I'm going to tell you how to reach your maximum, or to kind of figure out what your maximum heart rate is. But they saw 60% of the maximum heart rate was achieved, and that was good. But 80% was even better. And it's called, when you're on a tandem bike and there's someone behind you pedaling faster than you would normally go, that's what they called forced exercise. That was the exciting part of it. They figured out that 80% of your maximum heart rate is the sweet spot. So a very conservative way to figure out your maximum heart rate is you take the number 220 minus your age, and that is your maximum heart rate. And then you take 80% of that, and that's your beats per minute that you need to achieve. Now, everything that I'm reading, everything that I'm researching, exercise every day has to happen. 30 minutes a day. So you might think, God, that's a lot. I don't know if I can do this. You're going to feel better without a doubt. But you don't have to do it all in 30 minutes. There's something called exercise snacks. And you can do maybe a minute of climbing the stairs. Instead of doing the elevator, take the stairs if you can. Or go for a brisk walk. Walking is good. A brisk walk is better. Making sure that you also lift weights or some type of resistance, like the resistance bands. That's what you need, that to strengthen your bones. You need stretching or range of motion exercises every single day, like the big and loud. If you've ever looked on YouTube, you can YouTube everything. You've got to include balance training into your routine. We want to make sure that you're stable, that you've got the established movement patterns, just in case you're thrown off balance. So that's how much. It's 2.5, 3 hours per week. But if you break it down into smaller chunks, 30 minutes a day is what you're looking for. If you can achieve a little bit of a sweat or your heart rate rising, that's where you want to be. Now, even if you're doing chair exercises, so I was co-teaching with someone in Castle Rock, and we figured out ways to create that cardio even while sitting. So it can be done. And our instructors are incredibly well trained. They know this. All right, let's see where we're going next. Tips to get started. Okay, here we go. So after understanding exactly what exercise can do for you, don't wait. Start now. I've had clients who had never exercised and were 3 or 4 years into their journey with Parkinson's. And it was time. They needed this. Easy to do. Go on our website, take a look at what classes are available, and then connect with our, she is our director of exercise. What is Delisa's title? Do you know? We don't know, but her name is Delisa. Okay, and she's in charge of all the exercise. And I would have people come into my class just to observe. And then afterwards, we would talk about what their goals were, what they needed, what their limitations were. That's important. You've got to talk to your instructor. Like I said, got to meet your instructor. Really important. So they need to know you, you need to know them, and you need to be comfortable with them. Bring a friend or a family member to the first class. That'll make you comfortable. And if you are not comfortable going to class, you can always try one of our virtual classes. So what I found in my classes is that because we would have a break in between circuits, and I found that that social aspect of the class was so important. They loved working out together, but they really wanted to catch up on everything that's been happening. So, and that's where tips and tricks were shared. Like, well, one of the tricks I remember was sleeping in silky pajamas. So it's easier to turn over in bed. So, all right, like I said, maybe you start virtually, but meeting other participants, that's pretty cool. All right, so we have our different classes. Check them out. They're all online. But take it easy. On the first few classes, take it easy. Let your body start remembering how to do the movements. You're learning something new, which is fantastic for the neural pathways. We need that neuroplasticity. So this is all going to be new. And it's free. How cool is that? I love that. PAR takes care of you guys, and I am so happy to be a part of it. So it's all about having fun. We need to pick a class. You need to pick a class that you are going to enjoy. That way you've got the consistency. That's what you're looking for. You need to make sure that if Tai Chi isn't for you, or it's not strenuous enough, or you're not raising your heart rate enough, maybe it is kickboxing, even if you've never done kickboxing before. It's all tailored to people who are living with Parkinson's. Boxing. So many studies have talked about boxing and the multitasking and throwing the different punches. Even if you've never done it, you will be shown, you will be educated on how to do it and how to do it safely. So getting started is pretty easy. First of all, you're on Zoom. That's awesome. So you've got some tech savvy behind you already. So what you do is you go to our website, which is right here at the top, www.parkinsonrockies.org. Parkinson's doesn't have an S in it, so you pop onto that. You choose at the top the Get Involved tab, and then it drops down and you choose Join an Exercise Class. Now that's going to give you another page, and you're going to see general liability. You pop onto that and you'll be able to sign up. You'll need to sign that waiver. And then the medical consent. You get that, it goes to your physician, they sign off, and then it comes back to us. Now, as far as the medical consent, that doesn't have to happen before you take your class. However, we do need to have a discussion about what your limitations are, if you've had any injuries, if you've had any surgeries, anything we need to know about that we can modify is specifically for you. So then you're going to set up a profile on Wellness Living, and you're going to register for your classes. It's really that simple. And if you are having trouble with it, there's always somebody who can help. We are always around to walk you through the process. Like I said, all the classes are free for you and your care partner. And the research shows that that tandem bike study shifted the paradigm. That is when movement disorder specialists and neurologists started prescribing exercise to help mitigate or alleviate non-motor symptoms and motor symptoms of Parkinson's. So that should make you want to jump up and register for classes right now. So does anyone have any questions? Anything happening over there, Phyllis?
I'm not seeing anything in the chat.
Okay, excellent. So that means hopefully my whole point got across, and understand that you can call us anytime and we'll help you get to be exactly where you need to be. So I think that's it for me, Phyllis. Thank you so much for having me, and thank you guys for being here. I enjoyed seeing your faces.
Thank you so much, Michelle. That was really good. So, everybody, our next speaker is Dr. Mike Seidman. I asked him to join us at 4:40. So I don't think let me just look and see if he jumped on early. Uh, I don't think he's joined us yet. So why don't we take a 10-minute break and come back at 4:40 and we'll have Dr. Seidman and he's going to talk to us about mental health. So we'll see you in a few minutes.